I know we have this slogan that we're the number one podcast in the Central Valley, but I guarantee what? So what? Do we have beef? No.
I was gonna be like, that's it. You know the Spider-Man meme where they're pointing at each other? I was gonna be like, that's us, man. I was like, I'm also the Central Valley's number one podcast.
We are the number one podcast in the Central Valley, son. What's going on, everybody? It's your boy, Jose Cruz. Yes, your favorite Native American, man. We have you know what? Let me just tell you guys this, man. This is season 2, episode 1. What a great episode. This is legit. Whoa. I'm telling you right now, we're kicking off season 2 dope and great. Like I told you guys, we got a lot of dope things coming down. We got remote podcasts. We got podcasts with special guests, man. Maybe some celebrities, fighters or so coming up. I'm just telling you guys right now, man, we're doing it up. And today, we have a special guest. We have my guy, Micah. How do you say it? Diele. I was like, daily.
Yeah,
bro.
No worries.
I just want to tell you, man, I'm a big fan of you. I don't know how I found you.
Hold on. Ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for Jose Cruz. Boom! What a great start to season 2.
Season 2 in my mind. Micah Diele.
So think of like pasta, like Italian. Pasta, Diele. Pepperoni.
And that's what you're Italian, right?
I'm Italian and Portuguese.
Okay.
Yeah. That's what I claim, you know.
That's what I claim. From my hood. That's what I rep, you know. But no, dude, Again, I don't know how I found you, man, but it's like once I don't know, do you do ads?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, it's probably like, what's up, Central Valley?
That's
my name's Micah Diele.
Yeah, that's what I saw, and I was like, and I started looking you up, and I DM'd you.
Yeah.
Like real quick, and you got back real quick. Man.
Yeah. Generally, anytime there's a podcast in the area, like I love to see podcasts in Central Valley, and like it's hard to come by. They are here, but it's for some reason it's like everyone's like so under the radar. It's hard to like, actually find like different podcasts. Well,
I love what you're doing, man, because the one I saw, the teaser I saw is that you had a 209 tat. Do you have that? Is that a tattoo?
I got a tattoo.
Let me see it. I want to see it.
All right, 209.
209. Stop them, mother. Dang, dude. Yeah, so then you're from the 209. Where are you from?
So born and raised in Merced, California. I love Merced, the city, and I just love the whole Central Valley in general.
Yeah.
Just pretty normal dude growing up. I
don't think you're normal. I think you're above average, man. You're killing it.
I was a pretty weird kid, growing up. But
how so?
Well, so I got
Oh, we got his wifey here.
So my wife and sound guy are both here, you guys. AKA Duffy and Lindsay.
Duffy, shout out. And also, real quick, we got my wifey on the board. What's up, Laura? How you doing?
How's it going?
There we go.
Yeah, dude, I have this bad thing where I'm going 20, 30 minutes into the show. Oh, yeah, we got the wife here involved.
Oh, that's okay. I had my last podcast, I had like this gift for this girl, and like we went through the whole podcast. We talked before, talked after. She left, and then I was like, oh, I never gave her the gift. And I like to try to do that on camera. Like, here's the gift.
Let me go reset it up. Can we reset this up?
Exactly.
No, let's get to know you, man.
Yeah.
Because today I watched your podcast you released today, man. It was hilarious, dude. I love your work. I love how you just... You're consistent in I would say in your comedy and your writing. I can tell you take the time to do that.
Yes.
Let's talk about your podcast right now and kind of go into what we were talking about early before we were rolling.
Gotcha.
Because then you're like, are we recording right now?
I was like, it felt pretty good already.
Yeah. So let's get to know you, man. You're your podcast.
So I got a podcast that's cool. Well, it has a very long name. I don't know. It was originally Real Talk and Whatnot, and then I realized that like. That's kind of hard for people to find, you know what I mean? Because it was like, it's like something that's like not like people would like really like look up or anything, you know what I mean? And then my whole podcast is about the Central Valley of California, the talented people within it, as well as people in general who are passionate about what they do. And so that's the whole like idea of it. And so that's when I came up with a Central Valley podcast. That's like my username on Instagram.
It is.
And that's why I came up with that, because it was just like people are more inclined kind of to tune in like, oh, what is a Central Valley podcast? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's good. So I always joke that it's a Central Valley podcast, what is it? Real Talk and Whatnot.
Yeah,
you know what
I saw that. I mean, the Real Talk and Whatnot, you said you didn't care. Who came up with that? And why'd you stop using that?
So originally it was supposed to be Trail Talks and Whatnot. I was like, at one point I was really into hiking and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, I'm going to start a podcast about Trail Talks and Whatnot. And this is like this is like 2018, 2019. This is like what I was, Trail Talks and whatnot. And then on the first episode of like when I finally like in 2021, I forced myself, bought all the wrong gear on Amazon, sent it to my house, plugged in the wrong, it wasn't an audio interface. What was it called? It was just, no, not that one.
Oh, the mixer?
Yeah, it was a mixer. And it was just like some random mixer with not even 2 inputs in it. And we recorded the first episode, and then my buddy was like, he was like, I mean, is this Trail Talks and whatnot? He was like, it's like 45 minutes in, and we haven't even talked about anything about trails. And I was just like, I don't know. And he was like, what about Real Talk and whatnot? And I was like, I like that.
I saw that episode, number 13, where you're sitting out in the trail or like out in the...
Oh, yeah.
I watched that one.
Yeah.
It was weird. I'm a very observant guy.
The audio was pretty bad, rough on that one.
Well, I think the audio was fine because again, like we'll get into it also, but a lot of people really don't know. It's like if I can hear you, then I'm good. But guys that we do this stuff all the time, it's like, no, you don't know.
Yeah.
Like to every arm, it's like everyone thinks it's just an arm.
Yeah, exactly. I just got new ones. And
this was $13, but the road one, it's like you can tell, So, but one thing I noticed in the background, there's like so many white cars driving by.
Oh, really?
I was like, is that thing on a loop? I just felt like it was on a loop.
I don't know.
I'm that guy. I pay attention to every detail, especially when it comes to like another videographer, photographer.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we're all like interested in other people's work and see how they do things. And the things I love about photography, videography, podcasting is that there's not one way to do it. You know what I mean?
That's what I like.
Somebody has doing something like earlier we were talking about the top handle. I was using top handle wrong the whole time on my camera. But you know what I mean? Like little things like that to like major things or editing styles and stuff like that. It's all like unique and kind of like art is subjective, you know what I mean? Not everybody has the same taste, same style. And so that's what's kind of cool about like it being a trade is that everyone also has a unique style of doing their way. Their thing.
That's true. I
was so excited to come here because like I was like, what's your setup like? You know what I mean? That's like I was so excited to see that.
As a creator also, or somebody or someone that just loves doing this type of work too. I get like that too. I want to see people set up. I want to see where their mind is at in all that, especially when it comes to like your podcast, the way you shoot things, the way you do things, man. I love it. Do you have because right now everyone knows that, man, we're shooting out my house. This is my garage.
Yeah.
My kids are just chilling over there. My son probably walk around in his chones. But like, where's your podcast? Where's your studio at? Where's it located?
So originally we started in my house, and it was just in a room upstairs, and we did how many, like 30 something? Yeah, it was like 31, 32 episodes. All in there, and it was like I had like these cool ladies called Sisters of the Valley. Have you ever? Or they're called the Weed Nuns.
Well, I saw that.
So I do a lot of work for them and
smoking weed.
Yeah,
bro.
yeah, exactly. And so I do I'm just like their personal photographer, videographer.
What do they do?
So they grow and sell CBD products.
Oh.
And it's the whole thing is that like I believe it was in 2008, Congress declared that pizza was a vegetable in school lunches in order to make them healthier. And at that time, Sister Kate, who started it all, was like, well, then I'm going to declare myself a nun if that's what we're doing now, basically. And so she declared herself a nun, and basically she goes to different protests and things like that. She uses it as like a form of activism.
Yeah.
And by doing that, they heal people. So like they have like their own little like sage rituals and stuff like that. But,
and this is your client?
This is my client. Yeah.
That's dope.
No, they're really cool. Yeah,
and
their whole purpose is basically like they want to spread the healing powers of cannabis. And so like, when they fill up, like it's like they're a big company, but it's all like small. Like it's all each jar is hand filled by them, and each time they like to think like as they fill it up, like okay, this is healing one person. Like, now this is healing one person. Like
they get to like
very intentional about what they do. You
that's
know what I mean?
Dope. Have you had them on your pod already?
I have. Yeah, I've had them on my podcast, and that was at my house too. So that's why it's like it's fun because I feel like. You feel like you need like, and now we're in a studio, but it's like me, my buddy Duffy here, and then my other buddy Jimmy just recently got a studio where like we do photography, videography, sound design, and so we just found a place very affordable.
Nice.
And when we first moved in, there was 70s green carpet everywhere. Underneath the bathroom, dude, underneath the toilet, like
really,
it was disgusting. It was like my great grandma lived above where our studio is, like way back in the day. In front of it used to be a old radio station that was all glass, and you'd be able to see the guy like putting on the CDs and mixing them because it's
really?
And I've just learned this from like being there and people telling me, oh, that used to be the old radio station right in front of you. But so then we just redid it, put a lot of like time and energy into it. Yeah. We got it for rent in August, and we didn't do anything till like mid-October, almost the end of October.
Nice,
like, you know what I mean? And then we were just like
of 2021.
That was 2021.
Yeah.
That was last year.
Yeah, that's when I was dying. I'm like, dang it, this guy's getting studios and I'm dying.
Head start.
No, I'm just kidding, man. Well,
glad you're still here, man.
Amen, brother. Hey, there you go. Hey. But no, and you said your studio's downtown.
Yeah, so it's basically it's downtown Merced, general area basically, and then it's not like we're pretty hidden to where it's like you're not gonna know. Unless you know, basically.
Yeah.
So I had this guest come the other day, and she was like asking somebody a different business, like, there's like a podcast, and they're like, I have no idea what you're talking about, and I'm like the person's neighbor.
You're waiting.
And I was like, over here.
That's me. Well, to set the stamp downtown.
I'll be like editing in there, and then I'll be like, I hear like my neighbors outside talking, and someone's like, what are they doing there? And they're like, I don't know. It's because like everyone else is like a business where people go into, and ours is just like keep the blinds shut for the most part. You know what I mean? Just edit in there. It's just like a little 3-room studio. We got a front area, work area. The middle room is the podcast, and then there's a back room with a bathroom. And
nice. So how long have you been podcasting, man? I know you said when you started.
Yeah, so I started February of 2021.
Okay.
And it's been about, basically coming up on a year and a half. I think within the next month, I'm ending my season 3.
Season 3.
Yeah,
man.
and so, I mean, so that was like, and it's kind of abruptly how we did our seasons. We did like 32 episodes for season 1, and then we got the new location, and we started doing them there, and then that first episode was me, Duffy, and my buddy Jimmy, who all have the studio together, and I was like, this is season 2, whatever.
Yeah.
And so then there's like 13 episodes for season 2. And then season 3 is going to have, I think the same thing, maybe 12 to 15 episodes. Yeah. And so we're coming up on the end of it, I think at the end of May.
Nice.
It's going to be it. I just decided that right now.
Literally.
They were asking me on the way here.
He's like, well, you guys already know. If you know, you know. Well, that's dope, man. Yeah. I like that, man, because, again, I was like talking to you earlier about my previous podcast. We were just shooting. We didn't start seasons. We didn't really dial it in until we started this one. It's like we decided, 12, 13 episodes, 11. I really don't, because I want to get into this, man, because a lot of people don't know when it comes to video production, when it comes to live production, editing, they don't know the process. This thing takes a long time.
Yes, it does.
And this is why it pisses me off, man, because people hit me up. Like, I had this one guy hit me up and was like, hey, man, I love your podcast. I love what you're doing. He gave me the whole hype, right? And he was like, how much would you charge? And I gave him my price. And he was like, oh, I don't see it. I was like, well, you need to come see me you do it, because then you'll know, and so now let's get into what your process is, because I remember in the beginning you said I had this, my camera was out of focus. It's focused on my water bottle, not on my face. Kind of go over your growth process in your podcast to where you're at right now, because I feel like right now, man, you're killing it right now, man. I love what you're doing, man.
Truly appreciate that. Appreciate any feedback. And so I feel like with anything, people are always kind of scared to jump into something that maybe they don't know that much about. And I was like that same way, and I've been thinking about a podcast for 2-3 years. And then finally I was like, okay, I'm just going to buy all the stuff, so I have to do it. You know what I mean? And I bought it, like I said, I bought all the wrong stuff, you know what I mean? I was recording on my 35 millimeter lens, which is a great lens, but it's focus isn't the best. And I wasn't I didn't think to not put autofocus on. And so when I started this podcast, it was just I just bought the wrong things. I was just trial and error. And the whole thing is trial and error. And I love that when you go to my podcast, you go to episode, 1 through 5 is for sure, you can look at that and be like, oh, wow. Each one of those, he's definitely figuring it out. You know what I mean? And then 5 through 10, and then you're saying, so with the dumb thing about cameras, do you know why cameras only record for 30 minutes?
Why? Tell me. I don't know this.
Okay,
no.
It's
tell me. Educate me on this.
Stupid reason. It's freaking because back in the day in the early 2000s when people would take camcorders in and record movies, that's when that became default in cameras. Is because they didn't want people to record a whole movie for 2.5 hours. That's the only reason that's a thing in cameras.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, I have 2 cameras that I can probably go do that now.
Yeah.
I haven't seen the new Doctor Strange movies. I think I might do
exactly,
that.
Exactly. So, but yeah, so like we were talking about earlier, so you set up your camera, and then it's like I'm mid conversation with a guest, and it's like I'm like having to worry about when my timer's going to go off, and how I'm going to stop this conversation and then continue it on. And so, did you have any of those episodes when you were starting out?
Yeah. Oh yeah, dude. Well, like when I was with Unfiltered, we were partner. I had bought I got tired of. All right, hold on, real quick. Hit record again, and so I bought the record. I ran the cable. I still have that cable. Again, that's one of the dumb things that I bought that I don't use. It's like so we'd hit record and stop recording. So our podcast can go for hour and a half because I can control it there, man. So I know exactly what you're saying.
Yes.
Shit's annoying.
Exactly. But so with making my podcast, I knew that I couldn't just be me and my friends talking shit, having a good time. Not that those podcasts are bad, but it's like you kind of have to have a bigger purpose for other people to want to tune in. You know what I mean? And so that's why I had my first 5 episodes recorded before I released anything. And I kind of just after those 5 episodes, I kind of sat down. I'm like, okay, what do I want this to be about? And I kind of came up with my tagline that's it's a podcast all about the Central Valley of California, as well as people in general who are passionate about what they do. Because the Central Valley has gotten a bad rep. Like growing up, people always talk shit about Merced, talk shit about Fresno, wherever in the valley. You know what I mean? It gets a really bad rep, and I don't think it's nearly deserved. And kind of what showed me the most was through the pandemic. I was just it's not as bad as people are making it, and it's just people's attitudes that are continuing to make it to make it bad. And
that's true.
And that's kind of what pushed me to kind of go for that angle. You know what I mean? It was just I just want to talk to the community. And so the first or second episode, our goal was the mayor. We got to get the mayor on the
I remember you saying that.
You know what I mean? That was the goal. And so and it was just a far-fetched goal. It was we're not actually taking not serious steps, and we were taking serious steps, but not we're gonna get there, instantly. It was let's just see what happens. So I had on various people, and it was just interesting because you reach out to people and you kind of you get surprised by who hits you back and who doesn't hit you back. And who was my first people that who do you guys think my first people was when I was oh shit? So I had this dude who used to be my guitar teacher, Michael Todd, and he was on The Bachelor, and
really?
Yeah, they did him dirty, but
I don't know. I'm not a fan of them. I don't watch that.
But they he was
bring him on, town. Let's talk about it.
Made for ultimate cringe, basically. They cut it up. You could tell they cut when he explained what was going on, and then what they did to it when you watched it. I'm oh, they cut it up to be to make it look bad.
Is he a cringy dude?
No. Oh. He's a cool guy. Yeah. But I mean, it was just I don't know. It was funny though. It was. I mean, it was great. It was great TV. That's what I'm saying.
That's so funny.
So
dude.
it was I was reaching out to people, and he had I don't know 50,000 followers, and I was I'll just reach out to him, and he was just yeah, man, I would love to do it. I'm oh nice. Wow, and then I reached out to this chick named Deja, who was she's this artist from Modesto, and I reached out to her. She had 20,000 followers. I was hey, would you mind coming on? And she's this 19-year-old girl. Her and her mom came and watched it the whole time. But it was in my house and stuff like that. And I'm I'm getting people to come to my house that I'm pretty surprised. You know what I mean? That people that I didn't think. And then it slowly grew from there. And then the cherry on top was the Weed Nuns to me, or the Sisters of the Valley. Because I emailed them, didn't hear anything back for 2 weeks, and then one morning I was in bed, and then I turned around to her. I was they're coming. The Sisters of the Valley are coming.
Nice.
And then get this, then it's the day they're supposed to show up, and I'm I'm extra ready, you know what I mean? I'm super ready for them. I'm all a little more nervous because they're a little bigger than everybody else I've had on. And then it's 10 minutes late, 15, 20, 30 minutes late, and then I messaged them, and they're oh my gosh, we completely forgot about this. So so we rescheduled it, and then but it was we had an hour-long podcast, and they each smoked 2 joints, in my bedroom. So
were you guys all lit too?
No, they were. She came back from that,
And I could smell it walking up to the house.
Oh.
That's how strong it was.
Dude, it was,
And the door for their room that they were doing it was closed too, and it's still
and the windows were shut.
It was hotboxing, bro.
Dude,
oh my god. Do you smoke weed? Do you guys smoke weed? Okay.
I guess I'm publicly saying it.
Yeah. Are you not supposed to?
Well, no.
Dang, that's what's up, man. Because I know, again, what I like about your vibe, man, is this. The energy is funny, dude. Because now imagine when you got,
man.
Imagine when you got nuns that are just like faded.
Yeah.
Like, what is that conversation like? What do they get like dirty or raunchy?
No,
they
it's
like,
actually a lot more like
they're like, Micah, clap my cheeks. I mean, I don't know.
They're a lot more like holistic. Like they're very spiritual. You know?
Oh, they get deep.
Yeah, exactly. Like a very deep,
like
very,
Joe Rogan deep. Like you done DMT, bro.
Exactly. No, yeah, exactly. They just like have like intentions with what they do, and it was like interesting because it went from me thinking like, oh, they're just like maybe like weed nuns, you know what I mean? Because you watch things on TV and stuff like that.
Crazy.
They're like doing like interviews with like Aubrey, what's her name, Plaza,
okay,
and like a whole bunch of like other celebrities. And you're like, wow. And then like it's like now I go over and hang out with them. Like I'll just hang out. I hung out with them like last week.
Oh, you
know?
did?
No, yeah, dude. Like I just hang out with them all the time.
Yo, babe, I'll be right back. I'm gonna hang out with sisters.
No, I have to go talk to them, figure out what we're doing, and I'm going on tour with them actually. Because they're going to a whole bunch of dispensaries and on. Like in June. And so I'm going to go with them and take video and photography the whole time and then just stay with wherever. We're going from Outwaters, Oakland, San Jose, Santa Barbara, LA, San Diego.
Really?
Yeah. So it's cool because what's happened for my podcast is like something I never thought that my photography and videography would grow for my podcast. For some reason, I was like, I do photography, videography, which is already two separate things as you know. But I do photography, videography, and then I do a podcast. You know what I mean? That's why it was always separate. And then I really started realizing like about like 30 episodes in that they're very complementary to each other. One, not only for the skills where like as I get better with photography, videography, my podcast quality has gone up. But also because it's like people who sit down and talk with me for an hour or people who listen to me, and if they need some photography or videography job, they're going to be like, hey, why don't I get that guy? He seems to like enjoy what he does. Like, you know what I mean? And it's like, I am who I am. Like, I don't go to a job and I'm like, oh no, like I'm not gonna have a drink. I was like, hey, like if you guys are gonna offer me a drink, I'll have a drink. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's
like,
how I am, dude.
Yeah. Like I mean, that's the only reason I do weddings. I'm just kidding.
No, well, yeah. Again, one of my clients I have right now, we shoot lectures and stuff. It's not. I don't want to never say it's boring, but it's just lectures. It's nothing really fun.
Yeah.
But there is one night they have as a casino night, and these guys go in. These doctors and all their staff and the teams they have coming around nationally come to this place here in Fresno, dude. They get lit. I sent Joel, my buddy here, to go out and shoot it. And I was like, did you drink? Did you have fun? He's like, no, I have to Uber. I have to drive. Are you getting cold?
No, you're good. No, seriously.
Are you guys fine?
I just rub my hands, dude.
You're like,
you'll like
I'll
watch
pick
this
it up.
podcast and I'm going to be like moving like this. I just move.
I'm just going to do a whole, just you just moving, dude. It's like the silent films that Charlie Chaplin did.
Yeah, just like.
Yeah, but no, he like, that's how I am. I get like that. And like we go, my wife's wearing our Kairos Media Production shirt, but me, next day I went t-shirt and shorts. It's like, I'm not going to let nobody tell me how to look for my business, what I do. I'm chill. That's how I get now because I like you said, photography, videography. I used to work at a news station here in town as a news photog, weather producer.
Oh, okay.
So I got tired of them taking my creativity ideas. I'm just going to do this shit on my own because I'm getting paid the same wage. I'm just going to do it. So we made that decision to do that.
When was that?
Huh?
When was that? How long ago was that?
5 years ago, right, Laura?
Yeah, I think so.
Coming up on 6 years ago, we made that decision. Right?
Yeah, I think so. About 6 or 7 years, I think.
Yeah. It's been a minute, man. But when I first started out, it was more of I'm this media marketing agency, social media. I tried to find all this. I couldn't find my niche. I didn't know what I was good at, man. Because I knew I was good at shooting video, man. But
dude, there's so much you can do within it too that we're like. That's why, like, I got into the problem, or not problem, but like I said yes to everything. You know what I mean? Like, so I started like basically like 3 years ago. So I'm like pretty relatively new. Like, I always loved like.
Well, because you were a substitute teacher.
Yeah, and I still was a substitute until like 4 months ago. Honestly, like that, like I just got so busy with my photography, videography work. That
and this is your full-time gig.
Yeah, it's my full-time gig. This and then the podcast. Slowly getting some sponsors and stuff like that. So
I saw that cool too
as well.
So I know we'll get into all that, but how's that work out for you now? Speaking about, like your sponsors, what do you think was the turning point where you started getting sponsors and people are like, I can actually like,
Yeah, Mark.
on a-
Yeah, I had one of my good buddies on, Marcus, and like he has I met him like within the last year too. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And it was just like I had him on, and we were just talking, and then I was like, oh yeah, like I'm looking for sponsors, or I thought about getting sponsors, but I haven't really like put too much thought into it. And he was like, I'll sponsor your show. And I was like, really? And he was just like, yeah.
Now, is this monthly, one time, or
no, monthly. So every single month, like give X amount.
Nice.
You know what I mean?
Good for you.
And so that it started with that, and then another guy I had on, Tanner Dodson, and he was like, yeah, he's like, I'll for sure do a couple episodes.
Nice.
And then from there, it was just kind of like me trying to figure it out. So then, how many we just had two at the end of season 2. We had 2 sponsors, you know, and then at the beginning of season 3, we had 3. I think at the very beginning, we had Thor. We had Marcus, and is there anybody else that we had? Technically Duffy, yeah, technically Duffy. Duffy's the mastermind behind all this sound. So he, like every podcast audio, he edits the sound. He like makes it sound in level, perfect. So that way, if the guest's talking over here and then they're coming close, it's like nice and easy transitions and stuff like that. And so they've both been clutch and helping me develop and grow this show.
Nice.
I don't know what am I answering, honestly.
I forgot. No, we talked about, like you said, the sponsorship.
Sponsors, yeah. And
but you're right, because then you went to Duffy being one, and then now he's working with you.
Yeah. So and so it's 2 at that end of that one, and then we had 3 at the very beginning, and then, you know, I would start. Basically, halfway through season 3, we kind of had a meeting. It was me, Lindsay, Duffy, and Marcus, the very first sponsor. And we were kind of like, okay, like, what do we want to, like, I had so many ideas in my brain that I couldn't get them out. And because I have a photography, videography business, so it's its own thingy. And then I have a podcast, which is its own thing. And I had a million ideas, a million people I want to get on. And so we have like a 10 by 15 whiteboard, like in our garage. That's probably the wrong dimensions, but 5 by 10. A whiteboard in our in our garage, and like we just filled it up with everything. And I was just like talking about sponsor packages. What can we offer? We're talking about like future guests to have on. We're talking about merch. We're talking about, you know, all these things that you don't think about. And it's like, okay, like let's pick a few things from here and go from there. And so it was basically like it wasn't until halfway through season 3 where I started looking at this like business wise. What are we doing? Like, we're getting the quality. I'm getting enough feedback to where I'm like, how do we help this show grow, and how do we grow bigger and do things?
Yeah.
And so it's very like give and take on trying to figure it out. You know what I mean?
I mean, I feel like that's kind of the I don't want to say struggle, but that's like the next level of starting a podcast, because I do get a lot of people hitting me up. Hey man, I see your podcast. I want to start one. It's like, then you start one. It's like you've said all what you need to say in 30 minutes. It's like, then you have nothing to say.
Yeah.
Or you don't know how to interview. Because I don't know, when I started this, I was kind of not forced, but I don't know. I don't want to say forced, but I think I was just kind of brought into it by accident, because I was on my buddy's first one. Then I ended up joining. You know, I have a lot to say, like like your wife said, he likes to talk. I like to talk. You know, my wife says the same thing about me. And it's like, I used to be a pastor. I used to preach, do all that. So it was easy.
Really?
Yeah. You know, so when I stepped away from all that, did my own thing, got my job back at 26, walked away from ministry, I knew I wanted to talk about some, but I never thought about starting a podcast. I knew I had the production skills. I knew I had all that, but I never really dial it in until I joined my buddies, and then I end up leaving that, but where do you feel like, in your podcast, I want to know I want you, or at least people watching and listening, when they started a podcast, did you expect it to be where it is today?
Never. Especially
the quality, and also on top of that, like have your wife support, and she'd be like, man, babe, I'll let you, this is just a hobby.
Phase.
It's a phase. Where did you start seeing the turning point, and where she was actually, now, babe, we can make some money off this?
Well, I started seeing the turning, it was pretty early on when I started taking it. I slowly took it more seriously to where, like, it was just little things like, okay, getting the aesthetic right. So it was a little thing from, like, changing from a 35 millimeter to, like, my 17 to 40, using that, and then, like, okay, how do I make this aesthetically pleasing? And it was just more like, how can I improve in the beginning, it was all like, how can I improve the show just to make it more pleasing to the viewers? And so, like, Duffy was there from the beginning, helping us figuring out what audio interface we're doing and everything else with the sound and everything. And then he's always the one. I'm like, okay, what should I ask them? How do I do this? And if you watch my first interviews, it's very cookie cutter. Like, thank you for being here. What's the best piece of advice you've ever gotten? Like the same questions.
Yeah, all the time.
Guests, you know what I mean? And so you kind of learn how to be a host. You kind of learn how to drive the conversation. And that's just all comes with the practice of putting in the hours. But it was, I think around like episode, basically towards the end of episode 20, like around the 20s is when I kind of started realizing like, oh, this is a thing that people are actually kind of tuning into. Like I'm getting people who I've never met before, talking to them, figuring out what drives them, and people are actually listening and like, hey, like it's not just my friends, it's like random people reaching out to me. So in episode 20 was like when I was like, oh, I think we have something here. And then basically I feel like the next phase was when we ended up getting a little studio. And like it was one of those things where it was like I knew the podcast was growing. I didn't really think anything, not too much of it. It wasn't as it didn't take as much time, I guess. You know what I mean? Because the better quality it gets, the more time is taken in the back burner of times, you know, in the back burner of things. And so then when we moved into the studio in like episode 32, it was like, okay, this is for sure like a new era. Like whether people know like when they watch this, they think like, oh, this guy's got a studio. He must like really got it together.
He knows
you know
what he's doing.
Yeah, exactly. And like that's why I like it, because it's like people think that I have a whole team of people behind me. Now when they look at it, it looks like, oh, this guy's got a lot of people. They think like I got like people working for me or something. Yeah. It's like, no, it's like me. I do have people working for me, but for very free and for friendship.
A couple of spooning sessions.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. And so it's just me, Duffy, and Lindsay, and that's just like those are people I'm bouncing ideas off of. People who are like giving me ideas. You know what I mean? Maybe we should do this. Maybe we shouldn't. So when we got to the studio, it kind of was like, okay, like. That was the end of season 2, that was season 2 was when we got to the studio, and that was like, okay, I'm getting guests on it, but I'm getting guests I haven't known, or getting guests I've known, but I'm talking to them about like their job that I've never talked to them about, you know what I mean? Or
like the hairstylist today.
Yeah, and actually I never met that chick except for that day. Most of my guests now, it's pretty crazy when I watch, it's like all people I've never really met. Same. And it's like within the first hour, like this is, you know what I mean? It's like within our first hour of meeting, and we're can't shut the fuck up,
dude. Yeah, well, I think we have a lot in common, you know, because we're doing pretty much the same thing.
We both got chains on.
Yeah, we got that drip, you know. But dude, I think we're doing the same thing in production, photography, videos,
and it's cool because we're doing it different ways. Like, you know what I mean. If you come to ours, like ours, is a little more like, I mean, yours is a lot like high tech compared to ours, but that's what's cool about it is that like I was saying, you can do something in a completely different way than I do it, like. Different or similar production value, but like different ways. You know what I mean? I
feel like there's different methods. I mean, one thing I've learned, man, especially when it came to when I was starting my business, the social media agency, branding, all that crap, man, I got annoyed by it. And to me, I felt like at the end of it, when I started finding my stride and what I was actually looking for, man, I just felt like, you know what? There's really no competition, man. There's plenty of room to eat at the table. So why ostracize or why try to call out? Why? Because that's kind of the vibes I got. Because I'll be real, man. For me in the beginning, I was getting a lot of business because I was hella lowballing people. Yeah. You know, because
sometimes you have to low. I mean,
I was all, they're charging you 20, I'll do for 15.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, no, I'll do that. You know, then I got a lot of DMs, haterade, and it's like they're talking shit. And I'm like, no, man, this is business. You know, to me, it's like if you're, because one thing I've learned, especially in, you know, the content creating world, is that everyone has a template, and there's nothing wrong with it, man. But when you see the same thing, same look, I get tired of that. You know, on my personal or my business.
I get like the film grain.
Yeah.
Or like the 8 millimeter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like everybody does that.
It's redundant, man. And I'm trying to find the next phase, especially when it comes to podcasting. I think this is kind of perfect question to lead into our next, you know, part of it. It's like, how do you feel like you want to separate yourself in the podcasting world?
That's a good question. It's a question I've never thought about.
Because how many podcasts are just in the world, man?
Yeah, there's
billions.
Yeah. There's millions of podcasts in the world now, and it's like I almost don't look too far. I don't know how I'm going to separate myself from every podcast, but what I do know is that I'm one of the few podcasts in my niche that I've picked out as the like talented people, a Central Valley podcast. Yeah. Because what I do, like, although like. There's a million podcasts. There's not that many podcasts from the Central Valley. And there's very few, if I would say, you know what I mean? And so I think that one was like me finding my niche, which wasn't something that like I wasn't like always like, oh, the Central Valley is like this great place. You know, I was a little kid who like didn't like the area because that's what everybody else in the area was saying. You know what I mean? But like as I got older, I came to appreciate the area. And then what I love about the area is that like Central Valley is so broad and there's so many cities that are within it, but it's all so relatable. Whether you grew up in Fresno, whether you're in Merced, Modesto, even Sacramento, you know what I mean? Like the Valley towns have this thing about them where you guys were piling up in a car, I'm sure, like 18, 19, going to the mountains, going swimming, doing whatever. Like, you know what I mean? Those are types of things that Valley kids do, you know what I mean? And so it's finding that niche. And I think once I found that niche, it's like, that's kind of how I've started to separate myself from other people. And where I want to go from here, basically, it's just like, I want to show people that like, hey, like it, like a lot of people don't think that much quality can come out of the Central Valley, or it's not known. It's not known for like a lot of quality. Everybody, they get pretty good at something and then they move to LA, or they get pretty good at something and then they move to the Bay Area.
Yeah, they do.
Different bigger city, you know what I mean? And like, I mean, I don't know. I can't say like I'm going to stay here forever. You know, I have no idea what my future holds. But like what I do know is that I love the area and I do want to put on for it because it gets a bad rep. Yeah. And so I'm just going to keep my head down, keep working hard. I don't know exactly how I'm going to do it, but I am going to try to like make a little splash, make a little mark. You know what I mean? There's like, you know who Dope as Yola is? You know who that is? He's like this podcaster. He basically became really big on YouTube. He was one of like the pioneers of like a smoking weed channel, basically. Okay. And he's from Merced. And so he started this podcast, I want to say like a year ago, maybe, huh? So like about a year ago, and he's just like this kid from Merced, and like he's getting like a whole bunch of people who are like in the podcast circle that I like, which is like, you ever watch Two Bears One Cave with Tom Segura, Bert Kreischer?
You know, yeah, I've seen it.
You've probably seen random clips. So
I've seen it.
That's like one of my favorite podcasts. So like it's like them and then like Joe Rogan and then like all his comedy friends. It's kind of that circle. And this dude he's like been in LA for a while now, and he's starting to get like this comedian dude I like named Ryan Sickler on, and like he's had like a whole like celebrities on. You know what I mean? And it's like this kid from like this dude from Merced. You know what I mean? And so like my goal for Season 4, hopefully, I haven't even made any things to this, but I want to get Dope as Yola on my podcast because he's a kid from Merced or dude from Merced. You know what I mean?
Is he still around Merced, or he's out and about?
He's in LA now.
LA,
but it's just the fact that like I want to kind of show people like, hey, like this dude like was born and raised here, like and like look like it's not about like where you live and or you know, it's not about like it doesn't matter where you live, and you can make something out of yourself.
Yeah, if he can do it, so can you.
Exactly.
That's
you know
that's dope, man. I like that because again, I think what's still here is because when we started the first one, I left and we started this one. The whole point of still here, man, is to support the local creatives, local business owners. You know, I have this saying, man, tell the story behind the glory. You know, a lot of people only see the artist or the business owner, but they don't know the story. You know, so gearing up now because we're just season 2, episode 1, man. The rest, you know, I feel like it's dope episode to start off season 2, man. So it's fun, you know. So now, like, I want to start telling these stories more. You know, really giving a different perspective on why you got to support these people. Yeah,
exactly.
You know, and that's the vibe I get from you, because when I watched that number 13 you shot, man, I thought this dude we're in the same mindset, you know, because I don't want to just start. I have this thing, man, because again, like I said back to my first point, it's like people want to start podcasts, but then they realize the work behind it and the consistency of it.
People hit me up like they hit you up all the time.
It's annoying. Like, I tell them the truth.
I'm like, bro, I put in all this work so I could get my show to kind of look like this. And like, I would be down to help you if you were literally like, hey, like I'll pay you if you help me set up something.
And it's got to be worth our time because we know our value, our time. And I've learned to tell people like, nah, I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
You know, my starting price low end for what basic. All right, starting price $5,000.
Yeah.
First episode. What? I was like, then you don't want to do the work. Then you don't want. I was like, don't call me. You know, I'm at that point. I'm like, tired of it.
For that much, you can literally buy everything you need and figure it out yourself. But once again, like you're saying, you got to put in the work.
Yeah.
And people they think that it's a podcast. It's talking. It's like you're just talking. It's like. Yeah, it is just talking, but it's talking with a lot of back end.
It is. Well, like me right now as a host, like we said, we have our wifeys on joining and learning and stuff. Right? My mind is like talking to you, but I'm thinking, I hope she doesn't, I hope,
Yeah, you have like other stuff going on.
Yeah, because I'm thinking
I'm
production.
always, like, looking down at OBS, like, are you recording still? Are you doing this over here?
Same.
You know what I mean?
And that's how I get, with the production. And a lot of people don't understand that part of it, because it takes a different person that wants to work for it to actually put it out there. And I think that's what we did here, because one thing if I'm ever going to start anything, man, I'm going to be like, I got to finish. I got to go through with it. I'm not going to start it, drop the hype. Oh, that was done. Then I burned 20 grand of my money, or something. It's like for a hobby, So it's like I'm in. I got to be in. And so now that we're in, it's like,
and you have to keep on going even when you feel like there's days like where I'm like,
well, talk about that.
There's days like I'm like, oh man, I got to post. I got to I'll post like this morning. I woke up. I didn't have the episode exported. I had to export the episode. It took like an hour on Premiere. And then I left, came back. Then now I have to cut up a promo from this episode. So now I'm cutting up a promo that takes another hour. You know what I mean? And now it's like, okay, now I got to post to social media. Well, that's another hour because I have 2 promos I need to post on social media. And then it's just like all this stuff that people don't realize that you're doing. Do
you feel like you've aged? Because you're so far ahead, right? In your episode, that's how I feel.
Oh, yeah. I feel like when people at least I have some credibility behind me. You know what I mean? Of that's why I always tell people look at my episode 1 and look at my stuff now. But now even now it's like. Right, we did this whole episode where Duffy's been sitting in recently now, and so he's looking up stuff on the computer, and so
nice.
We had him record my Jamie. He's my Jamie,
the Jaime over here.
Yeah. So I have him look up stuff, and we recorded the whole episode. He was recording his screen the whole time. I was gonna do that all in post. I did it all in post, and then I exported both. I had one without it and then one with his screen on it, and then I accidentally uploaded the one that was without the screen, but it already had 50 views, and I was like, whatever.
Damn it!
I
hate that.
You can take it down. I was like, we need to show growth.
Yeah, we got the views. Do it for the views.
I was like, we just need to show growth.
That's so true.
What I mean? But it's just little things like that. I mean, but I feel like I'm happy with the way things have been going. Like I said, I've never really thought that it would get to where it is.
Yeah.
And it's really helped me grow as a person, honestly, and figure out who I am. Because I mean, a couple years ago, I was going to school for educational studies at ASU, and I was going to become a teacher. Then I graduated, and I was like, okay, well, here, I guess I'll just become a substitute. So I was a substitute for a while, and that time was chill. Being a substitute, it's
what were you teaching?
Anything.
Anything?
I wasn't teaching anything.
Yeah, you'd walk up.
I actually wasn't teaching.
Yeah, you were just showing up.
No, but substitute teachers now is just hey, what's up? My name's Mr. Diele. Your assignment's on Google Classroom. If you need anything, I'll be over here. And it was perfect for me because it was kind of in the beginning, I was like, oh, this is cool. I can do whatever I want. Then it was oh, I'm bored. I'm really bored right now.
Yeah.
It's
how to start a podcast.
Yeah. So it's little things of trying to figure out what my niche is and figure out. And that's when I kind of picked up photography, videography.
And you never did anything
no,
of that
so me and my friend in high school, we recorded. Do you remember those old flip cameras? It was yeah. So we used to record videos on YouTube. He deleted them all. I wish they still existed. But we had for 12 weeks, we had a video come out every single week. So nice. I had messed around in high school, but afterwards I didn't do anything.
How old are you?
I'm 29.
You're 29.
Yeah,
You're a young guy, man.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm about to turn 30.
I'm an old head too, man. So.
How old are you?
I'm 41.
41? Hey, you still look like a young buck. Maybe I'm just getting older, though, huh?
You get free merch. Well, no, I think one thing I love about this, man, is because, again, you were doing something. Because I watched your episode today. You said Starbucks and all that paid for your, and you're not using it,
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's what I did because I got kicked out of high school. I went to Fresno High. I got kicked out and never went back. I don't have a diploma. I got jobs at 2 news stations here in town and I beat 5 different dudes out of it when they had
their degrees,
everything for that. And it's and I beat them, and so, and I think it's a different type of person, and I think I get that from you, man, because again, when you can sit down and look, you're like, I'm not happy here. It's like that whole find what makes you happy, your, find your passion. I had to look past that typical stuff we see all the time. It's really now, how do I grow from this? How do I change this? Because I don't like this, you know. And so like I'm a type of person when I do something, I got to do it.
Yeah.
You know, because if I quit, then it wasn't real. Like, what did they say? I don't know who said it. It's like if your passion or something is this, then you don't have a plan B. This is it. You know, I think I messed that up.
But
you know, but I think you understood.
That's okay. I had a guest the other day that was like, you know. I was like, yeah, I know.
But that's why I think that's the vibe I get from you, man. Because again, I've watched some of your episodes. I love what you do. You know, especially your teasers. Your teasers are freaking hilarious. So yours today with the mullet, you know, that was like, how do you come up with that?
Honestly,
do you shoot those there and you give a script?
So I do them a lot differently than other podcasts. But basically, I kind of think of a general idea.
Yeah.
And I think of like questions to ask, and then generally I'm telling them what to say. Like I'm like, hey, say this. Like, so the promo today with that Lily chick, it's like, I was like, I'm gonna say like, thanks for coming here. Who are you? And I was like, no, I want you to say like, I'm Lily. Who the fuck are you?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I was like, just play fun, be fun. You know, I try to get them to like realize that like, hey, like you can do as many takes as you want. And then they do like 2 or 3 takes per question that I ask them. I just think of random things, and then I do, and then like a different day, like a completely different day, I come back and I record my section. And generally I'll have like Duffy sitting across from me.
Okay.
And we're kind of like playing off each other, remembering what I said, and like, how can we do that differently? Yeah. But then it just starts to progress to where like I start having ideas for this guest, like the Shark. Have you seen the Shark Tank one?
Not yet, dude.
Oh, the Shark Tank one's the best one.
Yeah, she's like, oh yeah, I gotta see that.
The Shark Tank one's ridiculous. But like I just start thinking of like, okay, this guy's an investor, okay, Shark Tank, like let me make a Shark Tank promo. And then like I had like that fitness chick that was on recently, and like I thought like, oh, it'd be funny to like make one of the like a Next. Remember like the old MTV show Next?
Yeah, Next.
So she was like, oh, I'm Ashley, I'm 27 years old, and today I'm looking for the man of my dreams. And now I'm gonna and I haven't done it yet, but I already know I'm gonna cut up different stuff, put it together, and it just like slowly progressed into making.
Now, did you know you were good at this, or until you're like, if you see it in your head, you can do it? Did you know already, or
kind of? So that's where photography, videography kind of came in, and so in 2019. I was going on Instagram and I saw an ad that said, create a video about your dream job and you have a chance to win $100,000. And I was like, hey, like I'm going to try to do this. So I wrote out a little script. Had not touched the camera to record or anything at this point. And then
are you a writer too?
No. I wouldn't say so. But no, I just like wrote out like I'm good at like little things that I'm passionate about, but I'm not gonna be able to like write a script for somebody else, you know what I mean? And so I wrote a little script and I hit up my buddy Jimmy, who owns a studio with us, and I was like, and he was into photography, videography. I was like, hey, like I have this idea, you want to shoot this video with me? And he was like, yeah, super down. And so it's called Day Job to Dream Job Promotion. It's a really good video if you haven't seen it.
And that's on your YouTube page?
No, it's on a different YouTube. So we can show it afterwards, honestly. Yeah. But and so we created this really cool video about like what my dream job was. And at that time, it was to create like a film series about nature. You know what I mean? I was really into hiking. And I still like nature, but I've been so busy with like learning all this and doing all this other stuff that I haven't had time to like go back out there. So we made this really cool video. And from that point on, I was like, I remember distinctly me and Jimmy were in the In-N-Out parking lot like 5 years ago, and he was doing photography, videography, and I was telling, but he didn't like to do like he wasn't doing like client work, which is more all passion projects. And I was like, hey, you should really like start doing it for like people. Like I was like, even if you don't like taking photos of people or even don't like doing stuff, like you should like do it just to make money, so you can make money doing something that's better than like something else. You know what I mean? Yeah. I had a distinct conversation with him, and like we both remember that conversation until today. And it's funny because then basically like a year after that's when like this dream job thing happened, and like I kind of was like, hey, I kind of want to do photography, videography. I'm 26 years old right now, or at the time, and I was like, and I feel like if I want to try to do anything new in my life, it's like now or never. So I bought a $700 camera, which I was like, oh my gosh, that's so much money. You know what I mean? And then I bought like 2 cheap lenses, and I'm like, why can't I shoot 60 and 60 in this? You know what I mean? But then I just dedicated the next 3 years, or the next year basically, and that was fall 2019. Spring 2020, COVID happens, and basically still every week me and Jimmy were meeting up, and I was just learning. We were just learning. I was just learning stuff. I was basically his like, was it like Padawan? You know?
Yeah.
He was a mentor though.
Okay.
And so basically, like, he already had a lot of skills, and so I was just learning from him. And so we started doing weddings together. Like 6 months in, I'm doing my first wedding, photography, videography, all at one time.
And he had no...
You know, I'm like getting like, yeah, I don't understand like lighting at this point. You know what I mean? But like, I'm the king of throwing myself in an uncomfortable situation, and then I just roll with it.
That's how he is right now, my buddy right there.
It's fight or flight, sink or swim. You know what I mean? It's that same thing. And so, and it's like if you want to grow, you're definitely going to grow that way. You know what I mean? I'm sure he can attest to that.
Yeah, he can.
Like, and like, if you fuck up, you fuck up. Like,
learn.
Yeah, exactly. It's all about the learning process. And so that's why it's pretty cool that, like, you know, through that, it was basically like, and it was like a full year in, and I'm like, I think I'm getting better. You know what I mean? Like, my pictures are okay, but like, I don't really know this video stuff. Like, now I need to focus on this video stuff.
Yeah.
And then now it's crazy though, because I felt like for a year and a half, I was like super stagnant. Then like the last 6 months, it was like, okay, I got like, I don't know, like 8 to 10 clients in those 6 months, which like sounds like a lot, but it's only like, you know, that's 10 jobs. You know, it's not enough to pay the bills. And then it was like in 2022, basically, it just like January was chill, February was okay, and then March, April just took off, and I'm like, oh, what?
Nice.
Like, I'm getting so many clients. I'm getting through the podcast. People were seeing me, reaching out, businesses like the El Capitan Hotel in Merced. They started hiring me to do stuff, and like the Hyatt owns them and stuff like that. So it's cool, like, to see like just how far I've come from it, and it's just like, I don't know. I'm really grateful for the position I'm at, because if you told me in 2016 that
I was about to ask,
I would not believe you that like you have this podcast with almost 60 episodes and.
You're supposed to be a teacher. You're supposed to be in school. You're supposed to. Yeah, that's how, again, like I was saying, my buddies like that. We had our launch party at the Grizzly Stadium. You guys know Fresno Grizzlies. That was pretty
cool. I watched bits and pieces of it.
Yeah,
like that you went up and set up over there.
Yeah, dude. Well, that's what this is.
That's a whole animal, huh?
That right there. Only thing we take from here is just the cameras. You guys want another beer, water, anything? You guys are good? Yeah, so what? Yeah, he's like, I'm drinking them all. But like, yeah, what we have here is.
Dude, this looks so good. I'm sorry, this looks so good.
You guys like the swords?
I really. I do like the swords. I didn't even notice them. Oh, you're a Patriots fan, huh, my dude?
Yes, sir.
Oh, man.
I'm prone to winning, man. I'm sorry, dude, and cheating. No, I'm just kidding.
Brady, man, Brady. I will say, I don't like. I mean. It's funny because like I feel like when Tom Brady was on the Patriots and they were winning so much, I was like, I'm so over this, you know what I mean? But when Tom Brady left the Patriots, I know it probably hurt you a lot.
It hurt. I'm still hurt.
Yeah,
now.
You're still hurting. You know what I mean? Mac Jones isn't the same.
I think Mac Jones can be.
No, I think he can.
But there's still a lot, man.
Yeah,
again,
he's shoes to fill. You know,
but he actually did really good for his rookie year.
Way better than freaking Cam Newton when he was on that team. Oh my god,
biggest flop ever. I'm a big fan of Cam too.
Cam's such a great guy. You know what I mean?
But I love his podcast. Yeah. I watch his stuff, man.
Boy, was he horrible in the Patriots.
He was, man. And so, you know, I think one thing I'm learning when it comes to like, I know I mess around, but like I'm prone to winning. But, you know, dude, honestly, when it comes to growing, because like I was saying, this whole rack right here, I just unplug these cameras and go. You know, everything you see right here is in that rack. You know, and so
it's all running right now.
Yeah, 2 systems, man. So this right now, I plug and go. You know, just plug in the cameras and go, man. That's it.
Pretty cool.
You know, so we're very portable. So at the launch party, we had our launch party. He came out, took pictures. That was like his first time taking pictures. And I'm talking about my buddy Joel. Mm-hmm. And so we had a remote podcast at Fresno Grizzlies, and he shot he made a TikTok reel for us, 1 or 2 or just a reel. I was like, hey, this is what I want. I sent it to him. He's like, man, you really have high expectations of me. And that was his first video.
Yeah.
To get tossed into it, to go do it, you know, because that's how I learn. I learn under pressure. I learn, I've never done this, so I'm going to do it. And, you know, like when I got my job at Channel 26, they're like, so Mr. Cruz, why are you good at this? I was like, why? Because I'm an open, clean slate that you guys can show me what you want, and you don't have to worry about another college student or a professor saying, this is the way we do it since 1942. I was like, you get somebody you want now, you know, and they're like, oh, okay, we'll go with that. And when I get there, I'm like, the hell do I do? You know, I'm at a shooting right now. How do I set up this damn live truck? You know, so I like that story about you, man. I think that's pretty cool, man, because again, you said, I didn't know what I was doing, but I'm going to do it. If I mess up, I mess up.
Yeah. And people are afraid to fail. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like, hey, like you got to fail in order to grow, in order to get better at anything in life. You know what I mean?
Preach on it.
Whether it's podcasting, whether it's you're working out, whether it's a sport, you know, like a camera gear podcast, doesn't matter what it is. Like, you know what I mean? And And people are always afraid of that. And I'm always like, well, that's like the point. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
The point is
yeah.
like to like do or like to get better. And you're not going to get better by succeeding all the time.
That's so true, man. I think we've learned a lot. We learned the hard way in really getting this stuff out. When I rewatch a podcast, like, well, I shouldn't have said that.
Oh yeah,
or I
all the
shouldn't have
time,
done
all
that.
The time, though.
You know,
all the time,
Yeah.
though. I can watch this, and I'm gonna be like, I should have said that. I explained it horribly. Blah blah blah.
And I think that as creators or people who just do what we do, man, we're always. Like I said in one of one of my podcasts is like, if I find myself just like stagnant, I was like, I don't want to do it no more because if I'm not growing, man, that means I've learned almost everything I can. You know, with this show and what we're doing here, there's so much I know I can still learn.
Yeah, there's a lot to grow.
You know,
from
it's a different beast. I feel, you know, and that's why it's funny, man. When people hit me up about starting a show or they want to join mine, and it's like I have a few people right now hit me up to be producers. You know, they want to come be a Jamie. They're like, I'm like, well, I got to talk to you first to kind of see is it something where you want to, you know, get clout, or do you actually really want to join this and grow this and be a part of a team? You know, so to me, that's where I think my experience comes in, you know, and so, you know, to kind of flip it, man, because I was on your website. You know, because we can talk about podcasting all day.
Yeah.
You know, because this is what we do. We love getting,
we do. That's
you
what
know,
we do.
but I'm looking at your website as a photographer, dude. Those are all your pictures.
Yeah, those are all my pictures.
Damn,
on my
dude, you
website.
got some skill, bro.
Thanks,
There's
man.
some nice shots. The waterfall, the Yosemite Fall.
Oh yeah. Oh, the moon one.
Yeah,
is that the one
dude.
you're talking about? Yeah. That photo like blew up. That's kind of like what like really helped me out, and like in the sense of like I gained like 500 followers from like that one photo that I posted. And it was just like, and the funny thing about like photography.
Go follow my podcast too.
Yeah, exactly. I think the podcast that was like right when the podcast came out, so I wasn't even on my mindset. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. With photography, it's like everyone has like their own. I mean, I feel like a lot of people try to emulate other people's style, and like I kind of basically, my buddy Jimmy, he kind of sent me down one day, and he kind of showed me what Lightroom was, and he was like, "Hey, this is kind of what I do," and then I just play with it from there. And from there, I was just like, "Okay, well, I'm just gonna try to like do my own thing," and I have this like little. Short video on my YouTube that's called A Photographer's Testimony, and it's like this thing that me and Jimmy went to Yosemite with. I went with Lindsay, and then he went with not that time, not the Firefall. And we made this. We were just going there shooting B-roll, basically, not having any point of what we were doing. But I ended up making this cool thing, writing a script to it, and basically it was like and it kind of wrote what photography meant to me. And it's like when I take a picture, I try to like I don't try to be like, here's the photo, I'm gonna make it look like I'm not going to leave it as it is and enhance it. Maybe I might, you know what I mean? But what I like to do is I like to try to like take people to a feeling or to the place that I am, or and it's not even like maybe it's not even what I saw, but I like to create something with my photography.
Yeah.
And like, you know, if a lot of like older people who are into photography don't like, you know, the newer age photography where we're editing up stuff and you know what I mean? But like what I like about photography is like I like that I can like make it feel like something, you know what I mean? That's what all the best photographers are doing. You look at a photo and you wonder like, why is this photo like so crazy and why am I drawn to it? It's because like you probably would be surprised by how much editing goes into the process of it. You know what I mean?
That's true, man.
And so I like to like try to take people to where I'm at and give them like what I felt when I was there, or I like to kind of change it to what I wanted it to feel like when I was there. You know?
Yeah,
what
when
I
I
mean?
saw that Yosemite one, after I looked at it a few times, I kind of felt horny after that. I mean, he must have been
With the
feeling
moon?
pretty
Yeah,
horny,
full
dude.
moon. That's the type of dude you must be.
No, I'm just kidding.
No. But with that Yosemite one,
That was a dope picture, dude.
yeah. So that Yosemite one, it's basically we went for Firefall. All of us went for Firefall.
I got to go to that.
We started taking pictures. It was real cool. And then we got back, and then about 2-3 weeks later, I was like, oh, I wonder if I can, like, it'd be cool if I could Photoshop like a orange moon, like on it. You know what I mean? And so, you know, I just Googled. You know what I mean? Like
Orange moon.
orange moon. Or I think about harvest moon. You know?
Yeah.
And I found like a freaking like whatever 4K resolution.
So wait, you didn't get that moon in that shot? That's an edit. That's a Photoshop.
Completely edit.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm like,
I'm like on. So I posted it on Reddit. Basically, I edited it. I got the moon, and then I edited it right there. Made it like fall into it. Made it look all real cool. And then I was like, okay, I think that looks pretty good. I'm gonna post it online. And then I posted it on my Instagram, and instantly like like within 10 minutes, it was like 100 likes. And I was like, wow. And this is back when Instagram was still like photos, you know what I mean?
Now it's all video.
No, now if you post a photo, you might as well throw it in the fucking trash.
Yeah.
Because I still post them, but whatever. But then I posted it there, and then I was like, oh, I'll post this on Reddit. And you can post it on Earth Porn. That's what it's called on Reddit. It's a subreddit called Earth Porn. And they allow composites. And so that a composite is 2 photographs combined. So there's a photograph of a moon and a photograph of firefall. And so that's allowed. And I put it there, and it got like 50,000 upvotes. And I wasn't making prints, so I just real quick found this website called Dark Room. You could buy a print there for free. They're taking a lot of money, but I'm also not doing any work. You know what I mean? And so I made like $1,000 off of it. Like people were like, where can we buy this at? I made like $1,000 off of it. And I was like, that's the first time I was like, oh, you can make money like off of prints. Like I've sold prints before, but not like, you know what I mean? And so it was just like that kind of like realized like, oh, okay. Like, and then I started selling prints, but with you when you sell your merch, do you like drop it off places or do you like mail it out?
Well, we just got all this, but I plan on mailing it. But if it's local, I'll drop it off. I'll tell them if you buy anything, I'll bring a can of Menudo with me.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like, hey, it's a perk. You know, you get Menudo. You know, so
what I found out with my or with the merch when we got merch finally was just I realized that like I bought 50 hats and it was cool and all, but it was like I had to drop it off to all these people, a lot of things local, and when I realized it takes up a lot of my time, you know what I mean? Especially if people want to talk to me like 15 minutes every person, that's 5 hats, that's an hour and a half every day. You know what I mean? It ends up like adding up to a lot. So I think I might end up doing drop shipping. It's like I don't like it because they take a lot, you know what I mean? But at the same time, it's like passive income. Yeah. So it's like I'm still gonna order them. Like so, this shirt we made with a what's it called? Cricket. You ever? Yeah. So we made.
So you make your own.
We had it. And we ordered the almonds, allergies, and asthma. Where is that shirt?
I think it's
Duffy's bag
or behind or.
That's your shirt, but
oh really?
Yeah. Your shirt. It's somewhere, Duffy.
Is it a medium?
It's large.
It'll work. I'm good.
Yeah. But so we ordered those and these hats from different companies. But since then, I'm just like it's trial and error. Like I said, everything. And so what I'm realizing is like, well, unless I'm gonna like have a really like system where they can buy it on my website, which I don't have right now. It's all through me, through my DMs. I'm getting overwhelmed. People hitting me up with DMs
because you're doing this all yourself.
Things. Yeah, you know what I mean? So it's hard to like organize it all. But I mean, I don't know where I was going with any of this.
No, I feel like, because again, we're talking about the merch. We're talking about growth. You know, I got my own shirt.
This is your shirt, man.
Yeah, buddy.
So we came up with this idea.
Yeah, tell me about this.
Me, her, and Duffy had a podcast. And it's when I realized that we didn't have anybody for the next week, and like, fuck, we need a podcast. And so we were like, oh, we'll just do a friend podcast. You know what I mean? So we did one, and then we ended up randomly saying like, oh, what does the Central Valley have? It's like almonds, allergies, and asthma. And then we're like right
there it is, y'all.
Central Valley, California. And I love it because if you're not from the Central Valley, you're not going to understand that at all. You're going to be like, what does that shirt mean? Like, I have no idea. But if you're from the Central Valley, you're like, that's a pretty funny shirt.
Do you work for Dr. Boz?
Yeah, exactly. So we do have those for sale, yeah.
So you made this? Or you outsourced this one?
No, we outsourced that one.
Okay.
Yeah. We outsourced that one and these hats.
Okay.
But like these ones, we only have a few of these made. So it's just this and then like, I'll see if I can turn around all the way. But it's just like real talk and whatnot.
Yeah. I like that, man.
Yeah, really. Yeah, Duffy made these ones. Yeah. I got you. I'm self-conscious about this.
Well, one thing, because my buddy, I have a friend of mine, Roska, who designed this logo for me when I was getting out the hospital, telling about the announcement, leaving the pod.
Did you have this idea kind of when you were like in recovery?
I had a lot of time. I had a lot of time to think, huh? Well, I thought at that time, the first podcast was still a go. Which I want to talk about on your guys' show. Yeah. But I didn't realize where this was going to be at. This was kind of like, all right, last minute. Not last minute, but just let's do this.
Yeah.
So with Still Here, it's like my buddy Roski hit me up. He was like, yo, sorry about what happened with you, man. I got you on the logo. You tell me what you want. Tell me the name. So like a couple of days later, we came up with the name. I was like, I trust you, Ro. You do it. I was like, I'll just, all I want is like a heartbeat monitor in there. You do the rest. Because clearly that's my heart. I'm like, I died and it flatlined. Yeah. So he made that up. And the way I think I want to take merch and the show, maybe you guys glean from this too, man. It's like, I understand that's my logo. I don't care to wear people's logos, not out of disrespect, but it's
Oh,
a
yeah, no,
logo.
yeah.
It's like, I'm not going to walk around with McDonald's, or Starbucks. But if they came up with something themed as a Starbucks, like that shirt right there is a Soul Train vibe shirt. Still says still here, but it's something that I know people can rock. I feel like that's where.
Yeah. Well, that's why the logo.
I like that.
That's where I came with the logo. So forever, I was like, get real talk and whatnot. I can't put that on a hat. You know what I mean? It's too long, too much of a mouthful. Like, what can I put? And I was like, I don't have a logo.
Yeah.
And that's why I was sitting down. I was thinking forever. I was like, what can I do? What can I do? And then I was like, oh, the Pine and the Palm. You drive down Madeira. You see the Pine and Palm in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
Right there. And I was
Isn't that like they said that's right?
That's the center of California.
Yeah.
Actually, apparently it's like 100 miles in the mountains.
Yeah, okay.
You know what I mean? Up this way. Or I don't know what way.
That way, I think is the other way. Yeah.
That way.
Yeah, the other way.
I have no idea where I'm at.
But that's what I heard.
Yeah. So that's the quote, the center of California. And I was like, oh, what better way to represent the Central Valley than where the palms meet the pines? You know what I mean? And so that's kind of where I came with that idea. And then when I thought about that, I'm like, then I can do merch. You know what I mean? And so that's when I was like, okay, like now I can kind of think of ideas, do different things, and like you're saying, I kind of knew too. Like people don't want to wear. They don't care about necessarily my logo, you know what I mean? But they'll wear something that's aesthetically pleasing and maybe for a bigger purpose. And I really got inspired when I went to Chico. I've never been to Chico. My aunt has a condo there. She let me, Duffy, and a couple of our other buddies stay up there. And there was this store called Upper Park, and it's their own clothing brand. And they have a park that's like. Basically, it's like 15 minutes away from downtown, and it's like this cool like canyon with a river and everything else, and that's Upper Park, and they named a whole clothing store after it. And it's just cool gear that like they like for sure just have their own little screen printing area and make limited edition stuff all the time. But it was just really cool, and it really inspired me. I was like, oh, that's what I could see happening in the Central Valley.
And I think you have a brand for that, man. I think you need to put like your face on the shirt, bro. With that mullet, dude, and the 209 tag, kind of like a Steve-O one, like
that would be pretty funny, like a black and white one.
Yeah,
you know
like,
what I mean. Like
you see it
with your tattoos on it.
and you wear it.
Yeah, there you go.
That's pretty dope, man. That's funny. You should do that. But again, I think because outside of like podcasts and photography, you do a lot of real estate. You have like that. You do drone work.
Yeah. So like so with like photography, videography, like I was saying earlier, like I never learned to say like no to things, because I was like, I need to find my niche. I don't know. I haven't done that much stuff. I don't know what my niche is. So I was doing weddings, and then I started doing real estate work. So photography, videography for real estate. And then I started doing some music videos. I've done music videos. Then me and my buddy Jimmy did a short film together, and it's called A Picture Perfect Death in the Wild West. It was a real cool Western film. We did that together. Then I've done like freaking to like picture. That's just video, you know what I mean? And then picture wise, I've done like albums for people, to cover shoots, to professional portfolio pictures.
You offer that as a service.
Yeah,
right now.
I offer and the thing is, it's like I'm known for so many things where it's like so funny that I'll be shooting for I shoot for churches, you know what I mean, and then I shoot for the weed nuns. Like one morning I had to shoot for a church in the morning, and then I had to meet the weed nuns in the afternoon, and then I did like this rapper's photo shoot at the end of the day, and it was just so funny. Like I'm like, oh, my clientele is like.
Everywhere.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I like about it. It's just like I'm just being me with all these people, and that people are connecting. And so I just want to keep being me and connecting with people.
Yeah, and I feel like you are, and you're really busy. You're like booked, right?
Yeah. And it's like then I have to remind myself that hey, you need editing time as well, because like. Editing, people don't understand that when I go and shoot something, I'm like, that's the least amount of time you're paying me for. Like,
that's not even...
Like I'm going to...
That's the fun part.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to triple this in my editing hours, you know what I mean? And so it's just like one of those things, it's hard for people can pay more for photography for some weird reason, like with weddings and stuff. It's like, they see the value in that, but video, why isn't it cheaper? I'm like, it's actually more work.
Yeah.
Like, we did a wedding recently, and we did photography, and we haven't done that in a while. And when we did that, I was like, this is so much easier. Like we're like not carrying our tripod. I mean, our gimbals around. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Don't have to have our backpacks on. It's like he has an 85, I have a 35. We're golden. Like you know what I mean? Like
those are the go-tos right there,
exactly.
boy. Hell yeah. I know. Well, I don't do weddings.
So how did you get into like photography, videography? So you used to be a I know I'm gonna ask your question.
No, go ahead, dude.
So you used to be
Yeah.
a pastor. What led you to like photography, videography?
Well, because as a youth pastor, you know, it's like a lot of churches, they don't have the people that know this stuff. I was working at Channel 26 at the time, and I was like, I got to start producing more stuff, man. I got to make it fun. I got to make it, you know, enticing for students to come hang out. So we just started shooting our own stuff and posting it, and then it actually drew attention. So I made myself learn it too for that. That's how I didn't really actually think it would turn into a job. Because when I got kicked out of high school, I got sent to, because I did something stupid.
Yeah.
So I got sent to community service at a church. I was supposed to clean the church for like 5 years. That's how long I was supposed to be on, dude. It felt like it.
You're like, I'll just become your youth pastor. If that works with you guys.
The best example. But I was cleaning one day, man, and they're like, yo, Cruz, we need a camera guy. You know how to run camera? I was like, I've never touched a camera. Just hold this. They show me how to do it.
Yeah.
I followed, and I thought I liked it. So twice a week, I would go run cameras, and then after a while, that stuck. That was it. That's how it started getting in trouble. You know, and it was mainly video. The photography came because once I figured out I had an eye for certain things instead of just point and shoot, you know, when I can create stuff, that's when I knew I was like, you know, I can work at a station. This is when we just got married, you know, was it this past May? Because we're in June right now, you know, but we 17 years of our married, you know, been married, and beginning I was still learning this stuff, man. And so I put myself out there just, all right, I'm going to go apply at Channel 24. You know, I'm going to go apply at Channel 30, Channel 26. And I know a guy that works at 26, and he put a good reference. You know, that's one of the main reasons why I got it. So it started me getting in trouble, getting kicked out of school. You know, so there's really no learning or no passion. It was just like, oh, shit, I can do this. You know, and so that's how it all started for me, man. And so I think that's how I grew. And again, I didn't realize where it's going to be today.
Yeah.
I did not think
I
about
mean,
that.
it seems like, you got a setup, man. You got an arsenal in here, man.
I mean, it's a blessing, man, because again, a lot of people think, you know, oh, he's had this, you know. No, man, y'all don't know how long.
You're like, he's like, I've been working at this, whether I knew it or not, to like be able to do this.
Well, I saw this quote, and I quoted this to a doctor friend of mine, and because I charged him like a good amount, and he was like tripping out. I was like, here's the thing, man. It took me 15 years to learn how to do this in 15 minutes. So that's why you're getting this charge. It's like, well, all right, that makes sense.
You just take some plates out of your book, man.
Yeah.
It's so hard to get people to see like the value.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then it's hard to be like, oh no, if you don't have something lined up, you know what I mean? And you're like, well, I want to do it, but then it's also like, then you do it, and then you're like, oh, well, now I have like 3 other jobs that people hit me up for.
Yeah, well, I think after I got sick, man, I stopped all my client work. I kept one client. I was getting too busy, and I feel like this will be my next question for you. I feel like I was getting too busy for my wife and my family. My kids would come. I've said this before on the podcast here. My son would come in and show me his Roblox. I don't give a damn about Roblox, but it's important to him.
Yeah.
You know, and he's 12 years old. He's like, look, Dad. I'm like, yeah, dude, that's cool, but I'm doing this. And he's standing there like, shit, you know, and I'm in the hospital. I'm like hating myself. I'm hitting myself. I'm quarantined. I'm like, dude, man, that was the time to chill with that boy. And I missed it. So we pulled back our business, man. You know, especially now that my wife's we're with each other every day. I don't know how she's not tired of me, you know, but she's not.
I don't know either.
You know, but I think that's where I think we've learned now. And since then, we've pulled back. I had shared this post a while back, man. I stopped caring about money. I really did. I stopped looking for business. I'm at this point right now. It's a blessing, man, because again, it ties into all this is that, you know, once I stopped caring about it, man, it started finding me. And then my attention to those little details on what I can put out. Then everyone thinks, oh, you just think you're this and this because you have all this. Nah, man, you don't know the story behind all this. You know, so I think that's why we're at where we're at, man, because the struggle to get here is real. You know, no one knows that. We don't put it out there. I mean, on the show, we talk about it, but I haven't got into it too detailed. But I think that would be my question for you next is like, how do you still find time?
Yeah, so I mean that, like you're saying, like I got to a point about I think it was like end of March where like I started getting hit up for like doing like multiple things, multiple weeks, like, you know, a real estate gig, and then I had a wedding, and then I had something else, but it all needed to be turned around, or not all, but not the wedding, but like multiple things were needing to be turned around the next week, but like I was coming home and I didn't have any system. I wasn't writing anything down. It was just, everything was in my head. And like I would come home and I would like talk to Lindsay, and then she'd be talking to me, and then I'd be like, what? Like I just couldn't like hear her or retain anything, honestly. And it got to a point where I was just like, okay, like I just need to sit down and like I started using her because I was like, hey, I need you to help me. Like I need you to help me like figure out, organize myself, just because I was like, because I'm trying to run a podcast, I'm trying to do a photography business, and I'm trying to do a videography business. And so they're all three like go with each other, but are all completely separate as well. So like, can you please help me with this? And we just sat down and we kind of like mapped out things, just drew things up and started figuring out, okay, like you have this week, you have 2 things this week that like need to be turned around. So don't book another thing unless it's like something that you can turn around in 2 weeks. You know what I mean? And so just having a schedule. And so she started being like basically my administrative assistant. And
what do
like,
you do?
I
Just this?
Yeah,
It was doing
no,
this.
she was just doing this for a while, but she also works at this hotel.
Your occupation?
Yeah, this hotel called Tioga, the El Capitan in Merced. Like, so she works there, but then she also helps me with like figuring out my, you know, like my income for the month and everything else. You know what I mean? And so it was something where I realized that like I was saying yes to so many things because that I was a yes man. I was a yes man that I needed to start saying no. And I did start saying no. And when I started saying no or started like valuing myself like better, then I realized people still respect that. You know what I mean? But it's like, I still have the tendency to lowball myself every now and then. I don't know why. It's like, I just subconsciously do it. I'm like, I don't know, 600. And I'm like, why wouldn't you say 1,000? Like, you know what I mean? It's something small like that. You know what I mean? But it just,
are you still like? Do you still feel that way now, being so young in your production?
I just feel like I still got a lot to grow. You know what I mean? I
feel like you have to work for it already.
Yeah.
Maybe wifey's like, I'm agreeing with Jose. You need to listen to Jose.
No, and I probably do. But it's just figuring out figuring out what I want to do is because it's like I don't even know what my niche is still. You know what I mean? I know what I can do and what I prefer doing. Like it's cool because like. By doing all this stuff, this past weekend, I got to film this. There's this rapper in Merced. That's his name's Ghetto Boy or GB, and he's like got a lot of buzz. He's like I compare him. He's like the Nipsey of Merced, based Nipsey Hussle of Merced.
Wow.
Like, and so he just opened up his own store in Merced, and I was filming like a little mini like documentary type deal about it. And it was just like it's cool that like my connections through my podcast have allowed me to, you know, maybe I'm not charging as much as I would have liked to. But at the end of the day, I'm doing something that I am passionate about. I'm doing something that I enjoy editing, that I enjoy working on. That's a bigger movement than it's like, you know, not that I like. It's like I will do any real estate video at all. You know what I mean? Hit me up, people.
Yeah, hit them up.
Yeah, but it's not like that. I'm super passionate about it. Where people are like, whole business is aimed around real estate, videography, photography. It's like that's not mine. It's like mine's more like I have a whole bunch of skills and I can use them for whatever you need. I like to work with people who like to work with me. I like to work with people who value me and who can see the value. I like people who aren't going to be like, you know, some people are like, oh, here's an extra 40, here's an extra 50. Like it's not like I don't want to be tipped, but people who see the value, you know what I mean?
I think those are the best people to know, man, because that's how I am. You know, when it comes down to production, and I'm learning this now because essentially my man right here is he's my editor now. I can't. Dude, since COVID, man, my recovery, my brain has
That's what I need, let me tell you.
Well, my brain has stopped. Like, there's like the side effects of COVID is that you get a lot of memory loss.
And stuff
memory
like
loss,
that,
So I'm starting to see all that. That's why I brought Joel on. And, you know, but to understand as a business owner to hire a contract, because I know him starting out, I know it's like, hey, is he going to pay me or is this? Is it going to be enough? Because I know that feeling when I was his age, when I was young, starting business or starting a business, but getting hired for a job, only getting paid $20 an hour. But I'm driving to Visalia. It's like, So it's like, well, I'm only making $80. You know, I'm there for 4 hours, but I'm, you know, so it's like I'm learning as a boss now, as a business owner, more now, taking it more serious, you know, having essentially a independent contractor. That's what I was trying to say. You know, so again, it's a process of learning, man. And I think when you understand your value, because I think that's why I charge what I charge, because I don't promote myself as a social media anything. I deleted everything on my Kairos page on Instagram. I deleted everything. I posted my first post today because I had a buddy of mine remake up my logo. You know, it's like I got tired of all that because I want to find a new way of promoting. Because right now I know Instagram's only videos. They're copying TikTok. You know, so my thing is like, if I'm doing photography still, how am I going to, you know, incorporate video into that now? To still show off my photography skills, but the video. So that's where I'm at. I'm in a whole revamping everything, man. Because
it's an interesting process to grow and learn from, especially because social media is just like, it's like you can kind of know, but nobody knows.
Nobody knows.
Once you get a good fan base, then you're kind of set. You know what I mean? And so I had this dude like we're talking earlier about the podcast and when we really started to see it grow. Season 3 is like, we had season 3 planned and we knew it was kind of going to be better than all the previous ones because like we waited 2 months to release anything. You know what I mean? That's not like us to wait and not.
Were you like, oh, do you have all your teasers done? Yeah.
But it was just like, that's when I started like, if you go back on my reels, like it went from like, okay, like we're stacking up these episodes. So we got like this dude named Terrell Green. He has he's born and raised in Fresno, 400,000 followers. He wrote a book, and it's just basically about his life story about like his sister passed away, his best friend passed away, dad passed away, all tragic events, crazy things happened in his life, and like now he's like a social media comedian basically. Yeah, you know what I mean. And so it was just like talking to, and I reached out to him because my other buddy who had a podcast had him on, and he was like, hey, like he was the bridge the gap or whatever. So I had him on. I had this other guy who goes diving with great white sharks on, and he hit me up and he was like, hey, how do I get on your podcast? And I was like, listen, man, like I'm from like Merced. I don't know if you know where that is. It's like 2 hours from the beach. Like it's probably. He was like, I'm from Tracy, dude, and I was like, oh, like yeah, if you want to come on.
Oh, I'm better than you, then.
No. He was just like, I'm on Tracy. He's like, I'm in Tracy. Like I am in the Valley, and I was like, oh shit, like yeah, come on out, come on. And so it was like starting with those two, and then we got the mayor on the podcast. I talked to the mayor. It was career day. I was substituting high school. It was career day. And then I was like, and the mayor was there. And he was like, he's like the DA as well. And so he's there talking to the kids and everything like that. And then like, I see like no one's talking to him. And I'm like, I'm just going to go ask him, So I'm there. I'm like, hey, I was like, hey, you're the mayor, right? He was like, yeah. I was like, hey, like, my name's Micah. I got a podcast. I was wondering if you'd like to be on it. And he was like, yeah, sure. Like, I'll come on it. Dude. I'm like, cool. So I had him on it. And then it was just from there, it was just like, other people who are like really famous on TikTok and like just all these like random other people that I started reaching out to. And I was like, you kind of start feeling like you find your worth as a photographer, videographer, you kind of find your worth as a podcast. Like, I feel a moral responsibility to show that like the talented people, and that doesn't mean necessarily people with a lot of views. You know what I mean? That doesn't mean that, but it obviously helps the show grow. And it's like, these people are talented somewhat, you know what I mean? And so I've been having like all this, I feel like you look at my podcast, you go look up the people. I have a good track record of like good conversations and people who offer, value to the area. And so it's really cool to like, season 3 really was like, oh, like we're putting ourselves somewhere where I'm getting people messaging me that like are giving me heartfelt messages that like, just like, they're like, this is fucking like, something I never thought was people who moved away from the Central Valley tuning into my podcast. Yeah. And that's like one of the main message I get was people going like, hey, like moved away, just came to your podcast, really like it, really appreciate what you're doing. That's like, dope. Keep it up. And because I think a lot of people move away thinking that they don't like the area. And a lot of people, even people have told me like, hey, like I watched your podcast, and he was like, they're like, yeah, like I would unintentionally talk shit about the area when it was like maybe me not taking action to do something. You know what I mean? Dude. And so it's like, it's all about the people who are within the area. It's not about the area. It's about the mentality of the people. My
man, Paul reaching, right? We're going to take an offering right now.
Please.
Cash app on the bottom.
And whatnot, you guys.
That's funny. That's dope. Man, I mean, I like that mentality because I was that person. I would talk shit about Fresno downtown. Yeah. I was like that until I started seeing the stories.
Yeah, exactly.
The people that make it.
There's a reason. There's always a reason. You can talk bad about an area because I can say, like, I could say Sony sucks. I can say Apple sucks. I can say Android sucks. You know what I mean? But it's so easy to talk shit about anything. But if I'm going to be like if you're gonna say something good about something, you can't be like it's good. You have to kind of go why it's good. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's so true, man. Because again, the guy I made my logo, makes all my stuff, Roski. I fell in love with more downtown Fresno because of him. His partner Jen, hella Fresno. It's like it's a different vibe when you know people why they love downtown. Then you catch their vibe, and you're like, dang.
Yeah, exactly.
I was such a dirtbag talking on.
Yeah, you talk shit about or it's like one of those things where it's like I didn't do photography, videography. And like like there was always art hops and Merced, and I never really paid attention or anything. And now like then the pandemic happened, and I got into photography, videography, was like super into it. And I'm like, oh man, it'd be cool to like see like art hops, and then like it just little things. Like I posted on Twitter one time like 4 photos of Merced. I was like, prints for sale, like anybody wants some. And like just like people retweeting it, you know what I mean?
Really?
And being like I got like 900 likes, and I was just like,
nice.
That's the first time I made money from prints. Is like I was like, what the hell? And like 20 people bought prints from me, and I was like, wow, like you can make money from this. And then the Reddit thing happened, and I was like, wow, like you can make more money.
And you're still selling prints on your website. I sell prints,
yeah. I don't sell. It's like it's one of those things where I offer them every now and then. I have my print website, but it's just like I don't have everything. I don't have everything updated. It's like I don't have my website updated with my most recent stuff, and I don't have my prints updated with my most recent stuff. But it's because I'm all over the place.
Yeah. Well, I don't blame you, man. I know you are, and I'll be real. I started my website for Kairos, and I'll be 100% real, man. When I was looking you up and just kind of checking out, because once we set the date for this.
Yeah, you know. Well, let me do some research.
But dude, your website helped me start my own. Finally, really? I put it off. I went through the same website, Pixpa. I went through there.
It's easy.
It's easy because I had Squarespace, and that was a little bit too hard for me.
You know, it was. Squarespace.
It was stupid.
I'm sorry, Squarespace sucks.
Yeah. No, it did because I remember a few years ago, I dropped like $275 for the whole year, and I was like, I'm gonna do this.
Yeah.
Never did, so I wasted $275.
And for some reason, it's like just more. It's like Pixpa's the same exact thing, but it's just a little more user friendly for some weird reason. But like Squarespace, it's hard to like change some things. It's like it's a layout, but it doesn't let you make it your own. You know what I mean?
So your website inspired me to start mine and do mine, man.
Dude, I'm glad. I'm about ready to make a separate website for the podcast.
Yeah.
Just because like my website, like if you go to it, there's so much there. There's a lot there. There's my normal photography there. There's my client photography there. There's my podcast there. There's my film work there. There's
everything's
my client work. You know what I mean? It's like so much. There's real estate there. There's weddings there. You know what I mean? And so I want to do a separate one just for the podcast.
Yeah, I think that's where I'm at because I have my podcast on there now, but I definitely am going to use that because right now where the podcast is going, it's growing, man, and I think the growth of it's just really challenging me to challenge myself to grow. Yeah. And I think where I've learned, you know, like you said, you're learning to say no, is I'm saying no to a lot of people. I'm not doing what I used to no more because it's taking me from what's important. You know, my family, my time, my health, you know, and the right businesses that pay me the right way.
Yeah.
You know, I stopped, and I'll be real, man. A lot of people, this is their niche. This is kind of like their thing, man. But in my experience growing into this, man, I've learned to take every job to get paid.
Yeah.
Now it's like I'm in my experience. I don't want to say this is everyone or feel like I'm, casting shade on what they're doing because I don't. This is not my intention, but my thing is I stopped looking for those $1,000, $2,000 jobs now. I need something that's going to pay out. So when I do a live production, they get this quality live. And it's like, that's really what you're paying for, man. So,
and through doing the podcast, it's probably helped you out on being able to offer that service, you know what I mean? And get better. It's like, not only am I making my podcast better, but I'm making my client work better as well.
Well, a doctor friend of mine, I showed him my podcast because we were getting ready for a shoot this past April. And I showed him my podcast and he was like, that's what your podcast look like? I'm like, yeah. He's like, this is what you can do. I'm like, yeah. He's like, so you can do this here. I was like, I can do this here.
Yeah.
He's like, well, I'm going to start a podcast. He's like, I want that. He's like, you design it all. I'm like, all right.
That's X amount.
Yeah. And that's like, all right, dude, yeah, all right, this is going to be big. You know, so that's to me is where I'm more intentional where my skills go. That's why I stopped like the whole social media trend and production agency.
It's like then you get people hitting you up and then they want you to do something for them, but it's like at a super cheap price. And it's
I was like, well, so and so. I was like, well, go ahead, man. The hell with you, man.
Yeah.
Don't call me. You know, so at the end of the day, I feel like my work and your work speaks for itself, man. You know, so has anybody, man, I see COVID, man. I was going to ask you a question. I forgot.
You're good.
Yeah. So, but again, that sucks, you know, but I don't know when it comes down to it. Cause I think we can talk, man, dude. I know we can talk.
Yeah. I can talk all day.
You know, I know wifey knows. She's like, yeah, you can, you know, but where do you think, we do this thing at the end of the show, you know, and I get real on this show. I get real, open.
Well, I mean, I have a show called Real Talk, man.
Yeah.
So I feel you.
You know, so what we like to talk to is about kind of where, you know, because I have questions. Let me see. Because I try to do some questions, You know,
No, I know. I trust me. I get it. I have in front of my. I have a whole bunch of questions in front of me, and it's just like
none. You don't. I haven't asked you one.
And then it's some of them that are like, oh, if it naturally comes up, like
Yeah.
question.
Let me ask you this then: what's an insult you've received that you're proud of?
An insult I've received that I'm proud of. This is what I do with people on my podcast when I put them on the spot. Insult that I received that I'm proud of. People, like you're saying, kind of like not seeing your worth. I don't know exactly like an insult, but like people like when it's like this one chick messaged me and she was like, I don't even charge ridiculous prices for photo shoots. It's like if it's a couple shoot, I charge like $200. You know what I mean? It's like we're out there for 30 minutes. And then I'll get you the pictures like by the end of the week or next week. You know what I mean? And like she was like messaging me. She was like, "How much do you charge?" And I was like, $200. And she was just like, put off by $200. Like I don't understand. Like blah blah. And it's just like it's okay. You don't understand. Like it's $200. And if you like it, you know you like it. Or like I had this other story where like. I'm selling hats and somebody thinks $30 may be like a ridiculous price for a hat. You know what I mean? I'm like, it's not the hat that you're paying for.
Yeah.
It's the support of the podcast. Okay. Like if you don't want to support the podcast, you don't have to.
Yeah.
But like, it's like either you support the podcast or you don't.
Yeah.
It's not, or you don't have the money and it's okay. But it's just like, it's like $30 isn't, I'm not asking a lot. I'm asking basically if you like the show or if you want a hat, it's $30. It's like you don't have to talk crap about the price or anything like that. It is
That's real.
It is what it is. You know what I mean?
Well, I think I've learned that because again, when it came down to my whole pitch was,
these people over here cracking up.
Why?
No, nothing. It was just about it. They know the story. That's all. That's all.
I want to hear that story after we stop recording.
That's fine.
G14 classified, y'all. But one thing I've learned to tell my clients is like, there was like, well, how come so-and-so is the same or cheaper than you? I was like, well, here's the thing. Those guys have a cookie cutter type system where these other agencies do that. What you're getting is a one of a kind, different.
I'm here for your time.
Yeah,
your
this
service.
is you.
Yeah.
This is you on your social media, and no one's gonna have this template. Once I use this, no one's gonna have it. These agencies do that. They change the color. They'll add other people's logos, switch it out.
Yeah.
Easy, done.
Yeah.
I was like, I hate that lazy work because they figured out a way. Hey, man, good for them because they figured out a way.
That's the thing. It's like everyone has their own way of doing their own thing.
But if you want,
like trying to show people, like, hey, like these people do good work. But if you look at their clients, it's the similar work.
Yeah, go look at so and so.
Yeah, exactly. Where it's like, I'm offering you like we can do something. You're right. It is similar to their work, but it's completely your own. You know
your own identity, man. And I feel like that's where my pitch has come, and I got a lot of good clients with that, man. So I think with the doctor, man, he's just like sold because he saw this. He was like, dude, this is it. Because again, I started marketing my value more. Because again, you're not. I told him, I was like, you're paying for the video, the work, you're paying for the posts.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you're really paying for my creativity. Because no one's gonna give you what I'm gonna give you. And they're like, oh, well, I understand that.
Yeah.
Exactly. If you want to stand out as a coffee shop business or whatever, this is why you go with me. And I think I've learned that. Seriously, been 6-7 years doing this, man. Especially working in news.
Yeah. I'm sure you went from like more corporate type, you know what I mean, to freelance. More and then learning from there. Like, okay, how do I maybe take the skills I learned here and the skills I learned here and do something unique with them?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's so true.
And that's what any creator is doing, whether they're an artist or like a video photography or a carpenter or somebody working with their hands. It's the same thing where it's like, I can do it like you're saying. I can do it in 15 minutes or I can do it in 20 minutes, but it's like it took me 20 years, 5 years. It took me 10 years to learn this.
All
you
that.
know what I mean?
And I feel like,
and people just see the 15 minutes and they're like, "Well, that doesn't make any sense." It's like, well, like, did you pay $20,000 for this equipment? Is this $20,000 equipment going to pay itself? Like, that's what I'm charging. You know
it's funny. I had this one client who had me on. I won't say their name, man, but when they brought me on, man, their social media needed help. But I was only there to only take pictures and create some video. So at the end of it, I ended up falling in love with these guys, man. Just beautiful. And, I love the hell out of them. But they got spoiled quick. They were like, well, I don't like this. I don't like that. Well, you got to remember, this is what you didn't have.
Yeah.
At my lowest, you were down here still. It's like, so at the end of it, it's like, that's where I kind of had to learn to try to separate.
It's so
that.
hard when you're doing video work for people and they're like, hey, can you take this one thing out? And like, it's like,
You
it's
have
not
no
that big of a
idea,
deal. But it's just like, I have to open up the project again and do this small little thing that's like, it might not take you think it's like the tiniest thing, but it's like, you know, I got to wait an extra 30 minutes for this to render and export again. Yeah. You know what I mean? And it's like, people don't see
We
that.
know the struggle.
Yes,
dude, we're there. I'm glad finally.
Somebody, videographer.
Yeah, you guys listening and watching, man, you know, having Micah on has been like enlightening because you guys are actually hearing a different side of what I've been trying to say, man. Because this is our first time ever meeting in person.
First time.
I followed you on Instagram and you followed back. I DM'd you and you got back quick. And here we are, you know, and I think to hear your perspective, first time meeting your wife, meeting Duffy here, and it's like, man, I feel like I've known you forever. Just kind of on the relatability.
Like I'm open book. Like people like when you know me, you know me. Like I don't try to hide like anything.
I like that. Same here, dude, man. And I think learning you now, learning this, because we can go on forever, dude. But we do this thing on the show, man. Out of all what we talked about, because I know we can talk about a lot more, so much more, 2 more hours, man, because this hard drive can record up to like 900 hours of podcast. So let's do a Guinness World Record, longest podcast ever. But what would you say if someone listening, watching, want to start a podcast, business, production, you know, if they're feeling down and out, if they're feeling some kind of way, you know, anything, I don't know. What is your last word to them, man?
If you guys want to, if you have any desire to do it, then I would just say, just stop thinking of all the reasons why you shouldn't and just do it. Because that's at the end of the day, you can think of a million reasons why, like just why you can think of a million reasons to talk crap about an area, a million reasons to not do something, but just start doing it. Just start working and doing it. Because if you don't start, you're just always going to be like, oh, I could have done that, or I should have done that. You know, a lot of thing with like our generation is I feel like that, or like the younger generation, it's just like they kind of realize that it's like kind of like now or never to do what you want. You don't have to do the 9-to-5 route. You don't have to do the routes your parents did. And you know what I mean? It's like I talk to my parents, stuff like that. You kind of see what they might regret, might not regret in their life. You know what I mean? And it's just like, just don't be afraid to take that leap and fail, because if you fail, it's okay. It really is okay. You know what I mean? Learn from that and then keep growing.
How are your parents in all this? When they're like, Mom, I'm quitting my job, and that's the teacher.
They're 100% supportive, and honestly, I was a substitute teacher for a while, so they knew that's what I was doing. And then I was like, I'm gonna try to start this podcast, and they're the biggest fans. They'll listen to every single one of my podcasts within the first like 2 days. It comes. How
are they with you with all your cursing? And
they know who I am. Like I'll have some guest on. They'll be like, "You curse in front of him," and I'm like, "I mean, like it's just how I am. I just curse."
Don't judge me, Mom.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm going to my room.
Exactly. No, but that's dope. It's good. It's fun, and I'm just happy that I have some support. You know what I mean? And the biggest thing people can do is just like follow me on Instagram.
Yeah, I was about to say, tell everybody where they can find you, man.
So if you go on YouTube, you type in Micah Diele, Michdiele, all come up. Or if you type in Real Talk and Whatnot, you'll see my podcast. Type in any of my guest names, you'll find the podcast. Or if you type in a Central Valley Podcast, you'll find the podcast. So that's on YouTube. On Instagram, Central Valley Podcast. You can find me there. I post promos, basically 3 podcasts a month. I post the promos on there, and the promos are definitely like interesting and funny, and I can recommend everyone to go down the rabbit hole of watching them all.
I've done that.
And then other than that, I have a TikTok. I think it's just Micah Diele on TikTok. Not too sure. Don't really get that beast. You know what I mean? Twitter, it's Real Talk and Whatnot, or Micah Diele, same thing. And just any support I can have for the show. I'm just trying to put on for the Central Valley of California. You guys, we get a bad rep, and we do not deserve it. And I'm just trying to show people that we got dope people here. So come support.
That's dope. As you guys heard, man, follow this man. As we're talking the whole time, all his social media is popping up in the bottom, lower thirds, But I'm telling you guys right now, man, stay tuned, man, because there's so much going down with Still Here Podcast. We're up and coming. I know we have this slogan that we're the #1 podcast in the Central Valley, but I guarantee you. What? Do we have beef? No.
I was going to be like, that's the Spider-Man meme where they're pointing at each other? I was going to be like, that's us, man. I was like, I'm also to the Central Valley's #1 podcast.
We are the number one podcast in the Central Valley, son.
Still here, Central Valley podcast.
Come on, partnership coming soon. Y'all stay tuned. Don't get tuned out. But again, my name's Jose Cruz. Yes, your favorite Native American. You guys stay tuned, man. We got a lot of dope stuff coming up, man. If we're gonna do this, we're gonna do this. This ain't no fad. This ain't no motivation. There's no trend. This is just real, man. We want to put ourselves out there and just have a good time, man. Just whip it out, just whip it out. That's all we want to do. Just whip it out, and Micah might go further than mine, but it's okay, but that's life. And we accept things that aren't just whatever. What the hell,
Season 2, episode 1, people.
Came out with a bang, son. But man, I'm choking over here. I mean, Laura, I know you usually chime in on this. What are your... Man, I've done messed up my throat. What are your thoughts kind of over today's podcast and everything so far as I try to get water because I'm dying?
Well, it's nice to see because when you go and look for like Central Valley podcast, you really don't see the quality, and you guys both have that quality.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's so cool in the Central Valley that you guys are able to do that.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
hopefully, other people will come along and learn too. But
yeah,
I think it's great. Mm-hmm. Why not feed off each other?
Yeah, exactly.
Why not use people or influences and get more people out there?
No,
noticed,
exactly.
So it's great.
Anytime I see a podcast in Central Valley, I reach out. I'm like, hey, keep it up. Great work, you guys. You know what I mean? I don't care if it looks like this, if it looks like that. I'm just happy that there's someone, especially if they're like, oh, we're like 45 episodes in. I'm like, hey, keep it going, dude.
Yeah.
Good work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I always reach out anytime I see a podcast. And so anybody in Central Valley doing a podcast, it's like, we're a community. We're all a community, you guys. We got to help each other. It's like have people on each other's shows, just talk to each other, what drives them.
Dude, I'm down to jump on yours. You guys set the date.
We're going to set up for the next season, season 4, because we're done.
And my season 4, episode 1.
Oh, yeah, we'll find out. Maybe
Ooh.
Ooh.
That'd be so sick, man.
Yeah.
But you guys, you know what? Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for your support. Thanks for all the love so far, man. Everything's just going to keep going up, man. And to have great guests on here like you, man, it's just... Again, that's why I do what we do, man. Because again,
you feed off each other.
Yeah, there would be. If I wasn't doing this, I wouldn't have met you guys.
Yeah,
And I'm so happy to know that I've met you guys. There's a connection. We're gonna follow each other on social media, man. You guys, you got my support. Anything you need, just let me know, man. We're here,
dude.
I'm thinking because we can't go remote. If you guys have a live remote podcast that you want to do,
oh, dude, that'd be
sign
dope.
us up, man. We'll do a partnership.
Yeah, that'd be dope.
Heck, yeah, we'll take all this on the road, boy. I'm telling you, man.
Maybe liquor store video.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So yeah.
There we go.
All right, y'all. Thanks for your support. We'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.